A little bit. I'm gonna run a boat real quick. Run a boat. I'm gonna run around real quick and do a couple things, and then I'll circle back with y'all here in a minute or so. See if we can't get a couple people to come and join us, of course. Um, yeah, I'm gonna circle back. Give me a sec. Got a couple things. All right. Hey, what's going on? Kind of. Oh, what's up, Layla? Just kind of getting stuff together real quick, like water, uh, all that kind of good stuff. There we go. Proceed. I'm doing great, Layla. How are you? Or how have you been? There we go. Where are you at again? Good. Are you? What city are you in? Are you in LA? You're in LA, right? So you in LA? Texas. Dang, that's what's up. That's what's up. How's it out in Texas? Is it getting wild in Texas? We're hearing a lot of things about Texas. I got my family out there. My family are in Houston, though. I think we might have talked about that before. Anyway, yeah, man. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I heard you guys. There's certain parts out there that were getting some kind of crazy, like storms, and y'all was flooding. That's pretty crazy, man. We haven't had anything that gnarly. We've had just like a lot of up and down type weather events here. About that, y'all. Yeah, I got mad family there in Houston. Yeah, Houston, Texas, man. That is where, for the most part, the other half of me is from, man. Up there in Houston. So, actually got to get out there once, man. I'm planning to get out there once again. I do like it out there. It's pretty cool. I've been in a couple different places in Texas, so I like Texas. How could you not like Texas? I mean, I've for the most part feel as though I've lived in Texas. This thing charging so, just because of all my family that is from Texas. Well, I got that Cali vibe too much to me though. You know what I mean? I can't really have the Cali. What's up with this thing? I'm trying to get this. All of a sudden, my light went low. Uh, that's not really working. Dude, I got that stupid BBL Drizzy song in my head. Some random junk. I will. Yeah, man. Microgreens. Yeah. We're going to talk about microgreens. We can. Mostly we're going to be talking mostly about the Carport greenhouse. Um, and uh, and kind of the construction or whatever it is that you guys want to talk about. Really, if you guys want to get into microgreens, pretty much all these lives, dude, they're always free form, y'all. A lot of times I'll just kind of have a, just a subject, but we can get into whatever you guys want to get into. So if you guys got microgreen questions, hit me up with microgreen questions. If you guys got just random gardening questions, hit me with random gardening questions. But I figure in order to kind of keep this thing moving in one direction, I will kind of keep it to the title. And today's title is, for the most part, the Carport Greenhouse. So yeah, here we are, Carport Greenhouse. It's kind of hot in here today. I wish I had decided to do this earlier in the year, but here we are. This Carport Greenhouse is 31 foot by 12 foot wide, right? It is nothing more than a carport. I don't know if you guys should be able to tell by the spines that you see kind of throughout the whole structure. This thing I built out right about, I want to say it was a good 5 years ago. I'm not 100% though, I forgot. But I want to say it's a cool 5, maybe even 6 years ago. And yeah, it's still standing, doing good, growing the hell out of our microgreens. The majority of our microgreens are grown in this structure, and then we also will take them outside. But predominantly, we do grow microgreens in here. As you guys can probably hear, we also do a little bit of aquaponics in here, or kind of just playing around with the system more or less in here. But yeah, this structure, I guess we can kind of just start with the prices. Lalo Love, I like the convo on good ways to get the kids involved in sustainable projects. That's a good one. Yeah, I'll definitely get back to that. Yeah, that's definitely a good one. A lot of different ideas to get kids involved in the garden. Unfortunately, a lot of times my kids, by the time I got heavy into gardening, my children were a little older. But now they kind of hit me up with questions, so that's cool. But yeah, so anyway, this thing was, I don't know exactly, I'm trying to think, for the carport itself, I want to say at the time I spent right about $600. I got more of the heavier duty carport. So this is actually quite heavy. The reason I got the heavier one was because we get a lot of wind in our area here, like a lot of wind. So I wanted to make sure that my structure was pretty damn heavy and not going to be blowing anything away or blowing away and stuff like that. Just wanted to make sure that we were sound. So yeah, that's why I went with it. And at the time, I want to say it was right about 600. However, if you go on Amazon or just online, I like to use Amazon. I don't necessarily always order from Amazon, but a lot of times I can look on Amazon, almost like Google, to see who's selling what and kind of get a roundabout price. Yeah, so right now I'm seeing things like anywhere from about $300 to on up, and that's for right about the same size greenhouse. Keep in mind though, they're not all made the same, like I was getting at before. Some of them are actually heavier. We have a greenhouse, we actually have the same exact structure outside. It's not a greenhouse just yet, but outside it wasn't as expensive, yet it's not nearly as it's not as rigid, you know what I mean? It doesn't stand to the wind. A couple years back, man, I had to jump up and grab grab that thing from floating away, man. Yeah, because we get some pretty intense winds here. So, but since then we've kind of locked it into the ground and all that stuff. But yeah, things can get pretty intense. So, make sure whatever structure it is that you get, make sure it's heavy enough to handle whatever weather events you know that you're going to have, more likely than not. So if you're going to have a lot of snow, you're going to want to make sure that you're going to have some kind of structure that can somewhat handle a snow load, right? Hopefully it's not that much snow, because I don't even know how much these things are actually rated in terms of the extra weight. So that's another thing too that you want to kind of keep in mind, the rating. Get that squared away before you even start building this thing out, or even purchase one, of course. The second thing that we have, of course, that's going to make a greenhouse outside of the structure is the plastic. Right here, y'all, this is a 6 mil plastic. You could get this. I got this from Connolly's. Again, what, about 4 or 5 years ago, and I cannot remember the price. However, when I look at the right about the same roll size that I bought then, it's coming out to $250. I bought two of them. I don't know if you guys can tell. This is actually a bubble. There's air. Let me disconnect you guys real quick. There's air being pumped in through this fan right there. You see that, yeah? Yeah, through that fan right there. And it's pumping. I don't know if you can see there it is a bit. So it's pumping that air that is capturing from the greenhouse into this plastic, right? Which is pocketed with another plastic on the outside. So basically there's two pieces of plastic here, which allows me to have insulation throughout the course of the year, and really helps out a lot. So for me, I had to pay twice, right? I doubled up on the plastic, so it came out to right about $500 total for the plastic. So right now we're already at $1,100, and that's without any of the wiggle wire. That's what I use. That's this stuff right here. What's a better place? Can I switch this? Yeah, it's the channel lock right here. This is called channel lock. And then inside of that is called wiggle wire. If you guys are building any kind of greenhouse shot, even if you're not going to do something like this, I would highly suggest using this when it comes to cinching in your plastic to your actual frame of your structure. Yeah, don't mess around too much with the wood, trying to sandwich it in with necessarily with a piece of wood and some screws. Don't mess with that, man. That channel lock and wiggle wire, that's the way to go. I've built over the years, y'all. I've built a gang of different freaking greenhouses, all just DIY, using stuff from Home Depot on up, right? And I will definitely tell you, using a channel lock and wiggle wire by far has got to be the best way to go when it comes to this, man. It just doesn't allow the slippage, because as you know, your weather events happen, you start getting that wind. You say, for instance, this is the, you know, you have plastic kind of wedged in between there. That wind is going to just wiggle that plastic in and out. If I could try to wiggle. I'll just wiggle in and out. I can't go back and forth. And eventually it's just going to rip, and you're going to be kind of, yeah, you're going to be bummed. Yeah, no worries, Layla. Yeah. But yeah, that's something definitely you're going to want to get. Let's see. I don't know how much it costs. I did bring my computer out here, so I can't remember how much channel lock and wiggle wire actually does cost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Connolly's. I got pretty much everything from the company called Connolly's. Connolly's is located in Pomona, but you can actually order a lot of the stuff online, and just have it shipped to you if you guys don't have like a greenhouse supply store around your way. Surprisingly or not, it might come to surprise to a lot of you guys that the Inland Empire in California is a really heavy agricultural area. So we do a lot of stuff. I know the Central Valley gets a lot of shine, and it should, but there's a lot of stuff popping off in the Inland Empire as well. Let's see here. I'm going to Google it. Connolly's greenhouse. It's Connolly's, man, not Connie's. Connolly's. All right, you guys can see it. Kind of give you an idea. Here's the website. It's Connolly's. You guys see that? That's where you guys want to go. Request a quote. I haven't been on this website, y'all, for a long time. So let's see if you can still find stuff. priced out. So here's a hobby greenhouse, maybe equipment. Okay, shading, benches, cooling, heating, special. Let me see. No tables though. Uh, Yeah, I'm not seeing exactly where equipment. I'll keep on looking for this. I'm gonna go to the store. Let's see. I mean, hmm. I'll keep on searching for it, but I don't know exactly the price on the wiggle wire. I'm sorry, on the channel lock and a wiggle wire. Um, However, each one of those sections they do come out to. They're sold them by a 6 foot section. I think is the longest you can get. So I'm gonna see if we can find it. Um, hmm. Yeah, that might be something that you guys have to go and check on yourself. I can't remember exact price. I was surprised. It wasn't too expensive. It wasn't too expensive. But anyway, I ran a lot of wood so that I can actually adhere my channel lock to it. Um, I have heard other people say that that's not the best idea, not the best idea to go with. Actually, more so with the type of screws. It's like you don't want to go to metal from metal into wood utilizing a certain metal taper screw. You want to use a taper screw that actually is it just one type of taper all the way through. I know that's not making much sense. Let me see if I can find one. This isn't the exact screw, but this is the type of taper you want. A lot of times when you go through those self-tapping screws, a lot of times they'll have a different type of taper. From what I understand, that taper will eventually wiggle loose and render your structure compromised. So you want to be careful there. I have yet to actually have that problem. My structure again has been standing for the last 4 or 5 years, y'all. So yeah, you should be cool. Yeah, Connelly's, Conley. Again, Pomona, California, and they'll have everything. That's where I got all my plastic. That's where I got the fan, the wiggle wire, channel lock. You can get pretty much all the accessories you want. Now, I know there's a lot of different places where you can actually kind of go, actually not kind of go, but you can actually go and purchase a kit for right about the same price. However, whenever you come to a kit, you're kind of left with having to deal with what they seem fit. In this way, when it comes to DIY game, a lot of times, one reason I like it is because I can customize a lot of stuff as I go along and make it work for me. Like pretty much like these benches, which is something you can build and put inside of a kit as well. But like this bench, it's ergonomically built for me. That's a really nice thing. But the structure within itself, man, I kind of just went this direction at the time because I felt as though it was a bit cheaper and I couldn't find the exact dimension that I wanted to find at the time. Bootstrap Farmer, I think they were coming out right around the same time they were starting to drop their Caterpillar tunnels. And they were right about $1,000. But they weren't going to fit. They weren't going to fit what it is that I had. And plus, I wanted to have mine kind of come up to a steeple, just to make it a little bit more aerodynamic from where I am in here. Not to say that the hoop isn't going to be that, but this just is like, you're dealing with just a steeple all the way through. So when the wind actually does hit, let me show you guys that too. Because the wind is no joke out here. So I kind of explained this in other videos, but my goal was, see that apex up there? It kind of lines up with the bottom of my roof. So as the wind blows, the idea is for it just to blow all the way along the roof of the greenhouse and make it to where I'm not really that interrupted in here or worrying about, my greenhouse blowing away or kind of having any kind of damage or anything like that in it. I know another question that did pop up for me were the beams up on top here. These beams up there. Let's move here. Those beams, y'all. Again, it was just because a lot of wood. I'm sorry, because a lot of wind. That's why I got those beams going on up there. That's pretty much the real reason. Now they are just, for the most part, used for me to adhese stuff to them. So throughout the course of the year, like the summer, past summers, we've put our shade cloth up there, and kind of let it drain down or drape down. And we can do that using staples. So that's why that actually helped out a lot there. Right now, we also have our misting system attached to it, just to keep us cool in here. This year, however, I am going to more than likely put my shade on top of the structure itself, really, as opposed to no problem, Lalo. Yeah, always my pleasure, man. Always my pleasure to give you guys what it is that I know, so then you guys can know it and change it up, flip it, make it work for you. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, next year we're gonna put this year we're gonna put the shade cloth up on top, and allow that to go. Just because in years past, dude, these are old homes and there's rodent problems and issues, and I'm doing my best to always keep them out of here. So by having hanging shading cloth inside of here, it just harbors places for rats and rodents and stuff like that. And I'm trying to make sure that don't happen. So you know what I mean? So we're gonna go on the outside this year. Also, I got my man, Sir Ether, Lord Ether, aka Stretch. He's growing his new garden cat, or should I say greenhouse cat, that we got for in here as well, to make sure that we're gonna be cool. You know what I'm saying? What other things, man? What do we got going on that you guys might want to know? What are the questions that I have in here? Oh, here, check it out. So the way I kind of constructed it. Oh, this thing too. This right here, y'all. This is a single piece. I didn't double the back part. It just was no need. At the point of me building this, to be honest with you guys, I thought this was going to become a door. It still might become like a place for ventilation if I do choose to go with a wet wall kind of structure. Even if something this small, I can do it. This is what I want to show you guys though. We used a lot of this corrugated, like kind of metal. I'm not sure exactly what this is called, but I used this just to kind of connect me from the bottom or to the top to the ground. You know what I mean? To finish off the structure. And that's been working out really well. I wanted something that wasn't going to be weathering as much. So that's been working out really damn well for me as well. Again, all the stuff that I'm talking about, I got all the hardware, so the wood and all that kind of stuff, I got that from Home Depot. But the, all the greenhouse supply, we got that from Conley. It was like, I want to say, dude, at the end of the day, I ended up spending right about $1,500. Y'all pretty much are going to be a lot over that now, if you guys choose to build out this same exact thing. But let's check it out, man. Let's see how much a structure. This would fall under a hobby structure. Yeah, so dude, just straight off the top, y'all. A hobby structure starts at right about 4 racks. You know what I mean? And depending on what it is that you want and what it is that you're doing, but that's where it starts at. And if I am not mistaken, that's pretty much just a structure. You get all the hardware, including the plastic. I don't know that's double plastic, but I would not be surprised if it was, as well as the fan. I think that's included. Let's take a look. It's been a while, yeah. So anyway, what's happening is, looks like you get, oh, it's only nine wide to, so about a 9 foot width Your arch is a 6 foot, and then your length is 12 foot. That's for 3,800, y'all. Uh, yeah, then they're talking about available add-ons. There's mechanical ventilation, half fans, heaters, benches, shades. Yeah, yeah. So you could be in a little bit more money if you decide to go with a kit through a Connolly or probably like a Bootstrap. Let's look at Bootstrap Farmers. See what they got popping. It's been such a long time since I've actually had to do any of these comps. It's kind of cool. Let's see. Store. Greenhouse kits. So you look at for free shipping. Should bring you guys to it. So now we're on Bootstrap Farmer, yeah. But for free shipping, that's about $200 less. A little bit longer too. You get a 14 foot by 20. This is no upgrades at all. Add sidewalls. I'm assuming you got to have sidewalls with that. I don't know. That feels weird. I don't know. But there you go again, y'all. It's kind of pricey, you know what I'm saying? Especially nowadays. So it might be, if you wanted to have a greenhouse, it might still be the more optimal option is that build one out yourself. And like I said, dude, the carport, the structure, it actually allowed, just for an awesome template, all I had to do is put plastic on top of it. A lot of the wood, y'all, I didn't have to put the wood on it. I just thought at the time it was going to be a lot easier for me to adhere everything to the structure itself in terms of the plastic. So that's why I use that. Yeah, it's not too bad, right? Now that $1,100 to $1,500 that I was suggesting, one, it's going to get you a lot longer of a structure, and then two, that's not including a lot of the hardware. I'm hoping you're going to land somewhere in that $1,500 range, but I can't see how much a channel lock and wiggle wire costs. But anyway, thank you very much. Yeah, I love this greenhouse, man. I love this greenhouse. I'm so glad that I built this thing. Like, there's not really too many days I come out here not happy that I don't have this greenhouse, especially, in terms of business. It was a great investment, And a lot of you guys out there at home too are really wanting to grow a lot of your food for your house. So you may not need something this big. You may actually be able to go to like a Harbor Freight. You could probably pick up a greenhouse there for relatively cheap. I know they got the little 6x8s, like if you wanted or 8x8 or something like that. If you wanted, that's pretty much when I started my greenhouse. Yeah, when I started my greenhouse journey, it was that. But those are like right about $99, $100, right? And you can actually fit several microgreen trays in there. I had over 30. I had over 30 inside of that. I want to say possibly even more. It was crazy. And then I had a bunch outside. So yeah, it was a great place for me to learn. Everything that I do now, even down to the heat, pretty much everything that I do now is the same thing I did back then. I just do it on a grander scale. So it was a great place for me to learn. If that's something that you want to do. If it's for your own home use and that's something that you wanted, then, it's great for like seeding starts, stuff like that. So having a greenhouse, dude, I've always had one. There was never a time I have not had a greenhouse since I've been growing food. Yeah, greenhouses are always something that you want. And it looks like that's still looking like building one out is probably your best option. So yeah, you can get pretty crazy with these. Oh, and then another thing too, one cool thing is that these carports, of course, they will come with a shade, like a big white shade that they put on it, like a tarp. I used that for a cool 6 months too. It was about 6 months. Yeah, it was about 6 months before I actually built this out. So you can actually get the structure, especially as we go into summer, not put the greenhouse stuff, but just have the structure and then put your microgreens underneath that, or whatever it is that you're going to grow underneath that, and yeah, kind of just have at it. Uh, for heating, if you guys can't tell, I'm kind of just jumping around here. But for heating, I use Lord Radiant. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of all I use, and it does a really good job in here. And I also couple it with this fan. Normally that fan, however, is hanging up here. Because it got hot, I pulled it down. But it's normally hanging up there. And what it does is blows air over radiant or our heater, and then it blows all the way down and it fills up the whole entire greenhouse with warm air. And I also will put fleece in the winter. I'll hang fleece down. The same thing, pretty much the same thing that you would use in your out on your garden beds, like for frost protection. I'll hang that through the pretty much the inside the greenhouse, but it's almost like a big sheet. I like to call it the cloud, and then that kind of insulates even more of that heat. It allows it to kind of get pushed down, and it just cycles through, and it keeps it really, really warm in here, man. So, yeah, we've been doing that now for a little while. This year, however, I kind of changed things up a little bit. What we got going on? Thank you, Eden Garden. Let me see. I'm sorry. Hi, new to your channel. This is Break Thy Chain. Hell yeah, Break Thy Chain. I love that name. Hi, I am new to your channel. When you sell to chefs, how do you change, or how do I charge them and still be competitive? And thank you and love your channel. Thank you very much, man. Dude, listen, man. I'm gonna be 100 with you. Your price is your price. Don't try to really be competitive outside of not being stupid. You know what I mean? Like I see a lot of cats out there, dude, just trying to price people. It kind of gets silly. And some people can actually do that. Like they'll charge a crazy, crazy number, and still maintain that customer. So don't do that. But name your price, man. You know what I mean? Be reasonable. Don't get dumb. If you want to as well, if you want to, and when I say name your price, I say that more so to be on the opposite side, like to not be afraid to, of course, charge, a fair amount, right? Because I see a lot of people that will charge under what they're worth, and you don't want to do that either. That's just flat out foolery. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do that. But a really good place and where I started, which is asking the chef, man, straight up. A lot of times a chef will have a list, especially if they are crossing over from normally like a bigger distributor. They'll have a list. Or even if you say, like when I go into a restaurant, you know what I'm saying? I'll give you an invoice and it shows you the prices. And I should see those prices and just base it off of that. The thing that is cool though, you being a local head and delivering to them, one cool thing about that is one, you're local, right? And that used to be a big deal around the chef area. So you do have that going for you, as well as a lot of times when it comes down to the big box or the big distributors, a lot of times what ends up happening is their quality just isn't there. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, even though you're pricing yours a little bit more, at the end of the day, that restaurant will end up being happier with you, even by spending a little bit more up front, because they get a lot more microgreens on the back end. So that's just something to kind of think about. That's just something to kind of think about when you're pricing them out. But anyway, yeah. So getting back to the greenhouse, and another way that for this year, we didn't really heat our microgreens that way. What I did do, however, was just extend the amount of time for them to grow. So I didn't really even run that heater. I think I ran the heater maybe twice this year. It was kind of warm this winter as well, so I didn't really run that much. No worries, man. I didn't really run the heater that often. I needed to. So what we ended up doing was just turning everything, even our broccoli, everything just went over to a 2-week cycle, as opposed to trying to keep it within that 10-day. I just opened it up, man. And that junk worked out like a dream. It was perfect. It saved us so much money. It was easy transitions back and forth. To get back now into the warmer time, it's a lot easier for me just to kind of sell stuff off. We're still kind of doing it just because there's been a crazy, I call it the flicker, when we're getting hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, eventually to the hot. This year, dude, it's been like boom, boom, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. And it's still kind of going on. So we do still have stuff like the sunflower that's kind of, I'm easing out of the 2-week. So yeah, it's been working out really well. In terms of our cooling, however, what I normally will do, and that's another reason we put the channel lock here on the outside. So there's channel lock all the way out here, all the way down. And what I have done in years past, you see there's like a little lip of wiggle wire. I just will pull that out. It will pull that out. And what that does, it opens up the, or releases the plastic from the structure. And then I can roll up these walls, right? So our side walls, actually, my bad, y'all. I didn't mean to drop you. So what we're gonna do is actually open up our sidewalls and allow a lot more airflow to come through the structure itself. But with that even being said, I'm gonna charge you guys back up. Hold on. Sorry about that. All right. So with that even being said, y'all, last year I didn't even roll those up. Normally I will roll the sidewalls up and then I'll drop down other shade cloth down the side. I didn't even do that last year. We just kept it open. What I did do, let me close my computer, kind of move it. What I did instead was I added the misting system. It's gonna come on right now. You guys see that? I should be able to see in water, kind of dripping down. So we added the misting system. And it's really helped out a lot. Like, it helped out a lot. Now, it didn't necessarily cool stuff down just off the top, but what it does do is it really helps out with transpiration. You know, it kind of builds up the humidity in here a little bit. So now the seedlings and stuff aren't struggling. They're not constantly transpiring water out. Also kind of did help a little bit with their overall flavor. I'm gonna let this thing kind of roll a little bit. This is the first time I'm turning it on all year, so. Notice it has a little bit more driplets. We'll see, I don't know, I might have to go up there and clean it off. I don't know if it's kind of got some kind of lime. There it goes. I feel like it's kind of opening a little bit more. I don't know, some kind of lime deposit. We got hard water here. Anyway, that really helps out. It also keeps it to where, again, well, we're not really watering the microgreens as much in here. And then on the occasion when we do get a nice breeze that comes through Fontana Town, yeah, it will help cool off the microgreens in here. So it's pretty cool. It does help out. This system, y'all, this ain't nothing but one of them Instagram ones. And I didn't do nothing special. I just grabbed one off of the Instagram, dog. I think this was like $45 for that. I feel as though it was really a really cool thing to have. Man down. Do you see something dripping? Something's probably dripping a lot. But yeah, it actually, and it helps out in here too when we're working. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it helps out a lot. But yeah, y'all, that's kind of it. That's all I can think of off the top of my head, man, when it comes to some of these things. I know people are going to be like, what about this? What about that? So just leave your questions down below, and I'll make sure that I answer it. Yeah, these things are awesome. Build out a greenhouse, man. It doesn't have to be big. To some, this greenhouse is relatively small. So, you know, I would definitely suggest to everybody that is in gardening and you want to extend your season a little bit to go ahead and put one in. Even though we're in Southern California, it's not really that. I mean, there is some season extension that does need to go on throughout the course of the year, but it's nowhere like where it snows or anything like that. But we do need them. Again, this place is for the most part just to house my microgreens. We do most all of our work in here. If you guys are kind of interested in kind of just seeing the workflow on how things work in here, we can get into that too. But well, we'll kind of jump into a little bit. I got a little bit of time. For the most part, this is where we kind of, this bench, you guys can see it, where we keep mostly the radish right now, but this bench is where we seed a lot of our microgreens, and then as you can see is where we will house a lot of our microgreens throughout the course of the week. Right now, this greenhouse can hold. I don't know what that. Somebody was trying to kill a fly, I think. This greenhouse could scare the hell out of me though. This greenhouse can hold easy right about 200, a little over 200. I think it was like 215 trays. But that's why a lot of them actually go outside now, because there's a lot of times we go over that. But it's really nice, man, to be able to work in here. We can seed in here. I don't do as much harvesting in here as I used to. And even what this is set up for. Oh yeah, this is one thing. I know some people hit me up. This is another thing too when it comes to eating. I don't use it as much, but these are actually a heating system, y'all. This is these lines. What ends up happening is these lines get filled up with hot water, and it's disconnected right now. But I normally will keep water in this drum, and then I pump it out. As you can see, it's all disconnected. But I'll pump it out, and then it goes into the system, both top and bottom. And so all the hot water kind of flows through these lines, goes down here, and then drops down below. Does the same thing down here, and then it flows back into that tub or into the drum, and just constantly cycles over and over again. That really works out a lot, man. That really helped out a lot. But again, I haven't really needed to use it, so I don't use it. In fact, I could probably pull it down. I just kind of keep it up there just in case. Definitely not for right now, but just in case if it gets too cold. I feel like last winter was surprisingly warmer, and so you don't want to bank anything off of a fluke. You know what I mean? You don't want to base anything off flukes. So I'll keep this up just in case I do need it for next season. Let me see, what else did I have on my notes? Charge it back up. Hit you guys one more time with the charger. Yeah, that's kind of. There we go. That's kind of the long and short of this one, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Really dope design, really easy to build. You're pretty much doing all the work yourself. If you guys have any questions on the specifics on like how we got the plastic up here, how to install pretty much whatever you want to install, let me know. There's videos down there too. If you can look on my channel, I do have a lot of videos on how we did a lot of this stuff. So, but I don't know if everything made it online. Talk about when. I don't know if everything made it online. So if there is questions, please leave them down below, and I'll do my best to circle back to you guys. I guess this is kind of a construction thing, but we did bolt these things. We did bolt down this whole entire structure. You know, there's some red heads here. Yeah, so it's actually bolted down or screwed down into the concrete. These are actually pretty damn long screws too. We got them down there pretty deep. And it's like that pretty much throughout the whole entire greenhouse. So this thing ain't going nowhere. The wind gets crazy here, man. There's times we'll get like wind gusts well over 70 miles per hour. You'll feel the whole house just shake and hit. But so far, dude, this thing has been holding up like a dream. I haven't really tripped on it at all. You know what I mean? I've worked in our craziest windstorms inside of here. It gets loud, but it's not, you know, it's not scary. I don't feel like it's gonna blow away or anything like that. At least not now. At the very beginning, you know what I'm saying? When you build something, you're like, oh, fool, I hope I won't blow it away. I hope I did it right and don't blow it away. But yeah, it's been working out really, really well. Uh, Trying to think of whatever else that might be beneficial for you guys. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of it. Oh, if you do, I mean, one thing I have not done in here, but I kind of contemplate doing all the time, and that's kind of hanging up some fans off of this rafter as well. We might do that this year, seeing that we're gonna go up on top with the shade cloth. Yeah, I have a really long shade cloth, y'all, that I just can put on top of this whole entire greenhouse, and it covers it without a problem. And it really helps slow down the solar exposure in here. That's another thing too. Kind of freestyling this last little bit. But the way that I built this, so that the solar exposure was going to be hitting pretty much all my microgreen trays all day long. And then when it came down to the very bottom part, all these microgreen racks are on wheels. And so for us to rotate, it's just, this is all I got to do. And then I just got to turn them around, and now everybody's got enough sun. And you just do that every day and it's fine. A lot of times I can get away without doing it because there is a lot of solar exposure that does hit a lot. There's certain areas where it's a little bit darker, but for the most part, I get enough solar exposure throughout the whole entire greenhouse. It keeps my microgreens relatively happy. So yeah, man. I think that's about it. Yeah, guys, get out there, make yourselves a greenhouse, grow dope stuff, grow good stuff in here or in there. I will definitely say this too: do not buy any kind of Home Depot plastic. Don't do it. It's not worth it, y'all. You're gonna end up just costing yourself way more than it's worth. In that, I guarantee you, your plastic's gonna get extremely brittle. It's gonna start breaking up, and you're gonna be sweeping that mess up. It's not worth keeping it, or it's not worth you buying it. It's very tempting, and I am telling you straight from experience. I bought that stuff more times than I ever should have. It's not always thinking like, oh, I'm going to use it for like a month, and yeah, it's not worth keeping, man. It's not worth doing that. Just get the regular, just get some greenhouse plastic. You'll find yourself a lot better off. You'll find yourself a lot better off doing that. So, yeah. Hope this helps. Let me know what you guys want the next video to be about. I was kind of thinking, or the next live to be about. I think it might be on the wicking beds. I've kind of just been waiting to generate enough microgreen compost just so I can fill up the rest of the wicking beds. And I was going to do that with you guys. So it might be that. If you guys have anything else, Lalo, you had a really cool thing, a really cool idea about just how to get kids involved. I'm always down, man. Always down to talk about getting kids involved and spouses involved and everybody involved in gardening. Or just growing food, connecting to Mother Earth. All right, y'all. I'm rambling, getting thirsty. Done did my thing. Break that chain. I see that you have deeper trays. Oh, okay. Another microgreen question. Deeper trays. I am used to seeing the shallow ones. Yeah. Does it matter when it comes to growing microgreens? I'm total newbie. Sorry. Never be sorry, dude. I'll be sorry about that. We actually run two different types of trays here. I run a 1 1/4 tray. A lot of people will call these a 1-inch tray, but they're technically 1 1/4 inch walls. And we also will run a 2-inch tray or a 2-inch wall tray. To be 100% honest with you, man, you will see a slight, or I have seen a slight growth advantage when using the 2-inch trays, but it's not worth getting everything a 2-inch tray just because of that growing advantage, or that growth advantage, if there is one at all. The biggest reason I use the 2 different trays, mainly, actually, it kind of comes down to 2 different reasons. At the time when I first started doing microgreens, these are the only kind of trays that I could find. I couldn't find the 1 1/4-inch tray. I could only find the 2-inch tray around my area. Again, I'm in the Inland Empire. I can get a lot of agricultural stuff not too far away from me. I could just literally drive there and pick it up. And a lot of places only have the 2-inch trays. The 1-inch tray actually came about, or the 1 1/4-inch tray actually came about more so for me for harvesting. I don't even use this unit anymore, but we would use the quick cut green harvester, and it was basically set up to where I could cut this whole entire tray within like 30 seconds. It's a dope system. I still have it. I just haven't used it. But anyway, it needed the 1 1/4-inch trays to be more efficient. So that's why I use those. Right now, I mainly use them for just preference at the farmer's market, to be honest with you. I like the way that they look. I like the way like broccoli looks in these trays. And I don't like the way pea looks. I don't like the way pea looks, and I don't really like the way sunflower look. I'm not the biggest fan of radish either. See how it kind of falls over? I don't really like that. I mean, it's not horrible. I just don't like it as much. I much rather everything look kind of uniform as opposed to hanging over. And so the 1 1/4-inch trays are going to make it, hang over as you get taller. The 2-inch trays actually keep everything nice and lined up for you. So when you're growing, you look a little bit more healthy out in the farmer's market. That's pretty much the biggest reason I use them now. Outside of that, yeah, it doesn't matter. You also want to keep in mind though, I don't know where exactly you're at. Oh shoot, don't jack up. Actually, you know what? I got these trays right here, man. I'm over here taking penitentiary chances right now. So you have, here's an old tray. Now this is an old tray. This is one of the first trays I ever got. See, I think I'm still using this, all broke. This is one of the first trays, dude. This tray is well over like 10 years old. But this one has holes, right? You're gonna find a lot of them out there that don't have holes. Like this, although I have added some in. So you want to keep that in mind. That really comes down to your irrigation or the way that you're watering, whether you have holes or not. You don't need, I mean, I have some here that don't have holes as well. You just kind of see how things are going, and make sure that you don't flood out your trays, and you're normally cool. I, however, live in an extremely, that's one thing to say, I live in a very, very dry area, very arid, so water evaporates very fast. If you live in Florida, I don't know that I wouldn't. I'm pretty sure there's people out there that are using the holeless trays in Florida. Pretty sure there has to be. A lot of times people just use these as inserts. I would recommend not using them for microgreens out there, just because it does retain a lot more moisture, because there's no place for it to flood, or for there's no drainage, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times your microgreens will be sitting there and they don't like moist feet, especially when it's warm and humid like it gets in Florida. So I personally will go with the holes. It'll make life a lot easier when it comes to you watering. You can water the same amount every single day because you have that drainage, so you're not really worrying about too much water, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But anyway, y'all, if there's any other questions, let me know. I'm gonna shoot them at you. Outside of that, I hope you guys are well and keeping up the good fight. All right, big up.